Hey guys, what's going on? Hopefully the audio comes out okay here. I was messing with some stuff because I haven't recorded in a while, and it's looking like the volume is really low. So I'm gonna try turning the main mix up a little bit. It doesn't appear to be doing much, so we'll see how this goes. Sure, four suited. So on table 3 down here, I just lost pretty big pot with aces. I'm not sure if I misplayed it. I gotta go back and look. I was actually a little bit distracted setting up everything, but I got jammed all in on the turn, which the sort of data point for that would be under bluffed. But versus a guy with 10 hands, I'm not so sure. We race here, we get called in 2 spots. We are up against 2 players and this is a connected board, but I'm just going to real quickly go with my sort of default c-bet strategy. A blank on the turn probably isn't too bad since this guy is possibly, because he's got fishier stats, he might be overcalling on the flop, so we'll continue barreling. The other option would be to, now we actually hit 2 pairs, so we're obviously checking behind. Although, if we really think he's fishy, he might look us up with like a 1 pair hand. And like his top pair hands, like honestly, like a fish, I would expect him to like lead with his nuts. So I'm gonna actually just like bet really small here and try to get looked up by like queen jack or something like that. He actually folds. So I'm working on, for those of you that don't know, and I don't know how you would because I don't know or think that it's been announced anywhere. I'm not sure if I even talked about the fact that I was applying for it, but I applied for Nick Howard's Coaching for Profit offer that he put out a little while ago. For those of you that don't know who he is, he is a Run It Once coach. Run It Once is one of the online poker coaching sites. He's a Run It One coach. He's got a few products that he's put out. PO Unlocked, Packs 1 and 2, Poker Detox, Mental Game, and he's got a new one coming out very soon that's Poker Detox Night Vision. We're going to go ahead and 3-bet here. So he actually put out an offer to get some students that he was going to coach for free. Now, to kind of put it in perspective, Nick charges $500 an hour for coaching, or maybe $500 per lesson, and the lessons are generally 75 minutes. I'd have to actually go on his website and double check to find out. We 3-bet here, so we're going to just bet a third pot 100% of the time. It works out pretty well. This guy is the same guy that like did the weird stuff here, so this is a pretty strange raise. I'm just going to call because our hand's too strong to fold. And then he did kind of take the initiative away, which isn't necessarily a real thing, but we're going to check. And hopefully, if he is bluffing, he will continue. That's I believe, our best bet for getting more money in the pot. 8's not a great card, but it's not that bad because, shouldn't be too bad. So when he raises on the flop, I'm going to put his hand at like a merged range. So we're going to kind of target getting value from a jack. And I'm going to bet $12 into 20. And hopefully that's the right size to get a call from a jack, which I think is a lot of his merged betting. Raising range on the flop, which I believe that min raise on the flop is relatively merged. And we will check here. I'm going to check table 3's hand. He actually had king jack there. So reading hands like a boss. I'm trying to, some of the things that Nick's kind of talked to myself and the other students that he picked. So I don't know if I actually got to it, but I applied for this this coaching thing and I got selected for it. So pretty stoked about that. 2 high cards here isn't like really great for raising. Like this isn't, okay. I missed his stack size. We got away with it. I didn't see how short he was. Not necessarily a hot spot for raising, but probably okay. Like probably not terrible, probably exploits the pool a little bit. And I'm just gonna go ahead and isolate on the button. I've got some new numbers on my HUD. They're actually irritating me quite a bit. But I don't necessarily think they're bad to have. It's part of Table Tamer. So one of them gives me pot odds real quick, which I probably will get rid of that. I know how to calculate pot odds. I don't know why. I just wanted to see what it would look like. And the other one gives me action for the player. And it's a little bit gimmicky because it's only 4 tables. I should know what the action is on each table. However, like some of the hotspots and some of the decision points, it's really important to know what happened on previous streets. And when you are multi-tabling, even me multi-tabling just 4 tables, occasionally I will, kind of forget what the action is. So we got a call here. We'll check back the turn on table 2. We get a check back on the flop, so we're going to bet like 100% here on the turn. And we've got a player betting this like sort of almost looks like a merge sizing on the river, like a protected merge sizing, but I think I'm just going to fold because I don't think we dominate any of his value range, right? That's something to consider, right? Number one, like, is there anything he's betting here that we dominate? And the answer is no. I don't think he's betting a7 like this, but I mean, I could be wrong. All right, so honestly, probably not the best thing in the world for me right now to be doing this, like to be recording a video, because I'm trying to incorporate like a million different things into my game right now. So I'm only going to make like a 25-minute video. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want to talk through some of my thought process, because I think that my past thought process has been like terrible. Not in the sense that it's really like any worse than, an average player's or anything like that, but not thinking about the right sorts of things in the hands and not thinking at a high enough or a simplified enough level. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and that's why I decided to make a video. One, I want to tell you guys I got into this coaching program, pretty stoked about it. Hopefully it increases the level of quality of the videos I make. And 2, I don't see a re-raise happening here. I'm just, whatever, a6 suit is good. I'm calling. I could re-raise as well. This is a check raise on the flop because my hand is really good. And you'll notice, like, I'm trying to sort of simplify things. And if you don't, like, for myself, like, this is my own thought process. So I'm going to try to do that for a while and not explain things as if I'm like a coach, or not explain things as if I'm explaining them to you, but go through what I need to think about to play the hands. And if you have questions about that, you can sort of put them in the comments, things like that, and I can answer them. But if you don't understand why a6 is good on a6-4, I don't have time to explain that mid-hand. However, I'm happy to explain that in the comments. And like what all goes into saying that, because it's not just 2 pair. There's multiple things that go into why that's good on that board, in that situation. But a lot of that is like just integrated into my poker knowledge. So I don't need to explain it to myself. It's just a good hand, and I'm planning on check raising. Whereas there's some decisions where I might need to actually talk through a couple things to myself, decide what decisions, like what pieces of data I can use in the hand to make a decision, and consider all of those. Like in this one, it's the fact that it's 4-handed, right? Like that's like probably the number one decision, is that this is a 4-handed pot, and I don't necessarily think that means that I can't bet. What is going on? Why is this 3-bet so small? Let's just pop this. It looks like my program's having a little bit of trouble with the predefined bet sizes, so I am using Table Tamer to put in my bet sizes. If this player bets here on the turn, we'll go ahead and fold. If they check back, there's a good chance that we. This is kind of like a one-shot and over deal, actually. I'm not sure. I need to look at it after. We're check folding here on the turn. But if he checked back on the turn, and then we got that 7 on the river, it would probably just be a check fold on the river. And we would expect him to check back, like small pairs and hands that beat us, but we wouldn't expect him to bet any dominated hands. Any hands that I dominate. I wouldn't expect him to bet hands that I dominate. This guy's 3-betting. I don't know anything about him. Only have 20 hands. King, queen offsuit, not that good. Very big 3-bet. I mean, it's king, queen. It's like not bad. I'm in position. I can, whatever. I'll play in position to a 3-bet from the blind. I need to defend pretty wide here, even if just as a default, I need to bet wide. When he checks, I'm just going to bet 100%, I think. I probably could have taken more than like a fraction of a second to make that bet, and we're out of position, so we'll check. He goes for the check raise. That's fine. We have backdoor, like runner draws, nothing too significant. It's not a small check raise. It's a huge check raise, so that's okay, I think. And I think the bet's fine. Yeah, I think everything about that hand is okay. So there's a bunch of different stuff that I'm experimenting with as far as HUDs and overlay type stuff and things to just make my decision making as easy as possible. But here, when we're in position, we get called. This I need to double check, but I believe we're just betting 100% in position when called from out of position. I think. I need to verify that because I don't know if it's explicitly clear as part of my sort of default strategy. So that's something I need to clarify. And I've got a note that I need to ask that question. Ace-9 offsuit. Good week. 4-6 suited. As I get more comfortable with some of the post-flop stuff and sort of as time goes on, I'll start opening a lot wider. I'm going to start probably opening like 80% plus on the button, maybe even 100%, because I want to essentially just get 2 spots that are exploitable where I can make money. And a lot of those spots involve opening from the button and the blinds calling light and then not defending wide enough. So if we can essentially play more hands to get to those spots that are exploitable, like the 9-5-9 board, when the blind calls, things like that, we want to get to as many of those spots as possible. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be explaining things. I'm supposed to be talking through my thought process. So I've got some new software. I got Hand to Note. It's a new database software. I think I have a sign-up code, but I haven't put it out anywhere yet. So I will do a review of Hand to Note probably next week during the week. I need to get some hands. I'll probably just get some hands from a website that I don't play on and show you guys sort of how it works. Really cool software, and definitely want to show you guys what that does. Same thing, small blind, big blind, like near 100%. 5-3 offsuit, probably do without that. But yeah, I want to show you guys how Hand to Note works. It's pretty cool software. I may start using that HUD once I sort of get it all cleaned up. The nice thing about that HUD is it'll show you past hands that you played with somebody. So instead of like having to like take a note, or like if I wanted to take a note on this guy, because I played a couple interesting hands with him, but I've already sort of forgot the context of some of what they were. If I didn't, I could just like hover over his HUD and it would actually show me all the hands that I've seen him play and how he's played them, which would be nice, especially over the small sample sizes that we have on here. So here we've got an under the gun raise. a 3-bet from the small blind, and then me in the big blind. So I'm actually just going to flat here and play the multi-way pot because I don't want to go cold 4-betting with ace-king offsuit. Not because I'm worried about how it plays post-flop, but because I don't think – I'm almost like letting them get away with playing better by raising there. I can't fold here, so it would be just like way too light. And if this player continuation bets and then checks, I probably have an exploitable opportunity to make some money. So we're just going to go 10-25 on the turn. That's also an overfolded card. When he calls on that card, we get the blank on the river. Not sure. I don't know. Don't know the answer. I'm going to overbet jam. And that was the wrong decision he had. Oh, okay. He didn't even have the flush. That's interesting. Okay. So the data points there are probably that he folded on an overfolded card, right? Like that would be. So if there's a situation that's like overfolded, like that one, I described it as I was playing it. Like, hey, this is an overfolded spot when he checks on the turn. Now, another interesting, like, I don't even know if I call with kings there. Like, that's a tough fucking call with kings. Sorry, I don't mean to swear, but it is, right? Like, it's just not, that's not the easiest call in the world to make with a pair of kings. And I think I bet here because he can probably call with some worse hands, but he'll never bet worse hands. And if he bets, I have to fold. So even though it's like a donk lead, I think I can get value from worse if I bet, but he checks back all his worse and only bets his nuts. And like I let him play perfectly if I don't bet this river, which maybe means it was like actually a might actually mean it was like a raise on the turn or a bet on the turn. I honestly, like, for some reason, I actually feel like these hands are going really fast. I don't know why it is, but I actually feel like there's like the speed of the hands feels really fast to me right now. I think it's because there's so many concepts that I'm trying to wrap my head around. Like I said, that's why I want to make this video kind of short, because this stuff's hard enough for me to integrate without trying to talk through it in a video, but I do want to be able to talk through some of the things I'm thinking about. The other thing I want to make sure I do, we need to mark that hand, right? So let's mark that hand for review. And what I'll do is I will submit that as a hand history to, the person who's doing some coaching with me and see what he says. And he's probably going to say that it is a give up on the river because of the data points I mentioned. I had to guess. So, yeah, flop went check, check, so we're going to bet 100% here. And that's like, I was distracted by another hand, and now I look up and I'm like, crap, what happened? Did I bet? And he called? No, it went check, check. So when it goes check, check, and the imposition player checks, we have like license to bet freely. So this guy's turning into like a maniac. So first, the maniac is nine's a call. Is it like a jam all in? I mean, I guess it's probably a call. We play in position and make good decisions post flop. So he actually checks. I believe we've seen him like check jam the flop before. However, now my automatic bet's not going in. So we want to be careful not to overfold when we've got another hand going on. I think we want to bet like 25% of the pot here. Now, if he check jams us again, then like that's like, I want to say almost 3 times in a row that it's happened. So we need to be kind of careful here. Put myself in a crappy spot that I don't know the answer to. This guy's short. I don't want to re-raise. I'll just call the $1 raise with sixes. Need to mark that hand. That's like one thing that I do still get a little bit, I don't know if like, I guess tilted is the right word, right? Like I start to play, or even if I don't do anything wrong, I definitely get very insecure about playing against somebody who I interpret as probably not being that good. Like somebody that's playing 56-37. Now, that's not to say he's not good. It's 27 hands. He could be like essentially just playing a really advanced strategy where he like comes into the table, plays very aggressively for 50 hands, and then leaves. And maybe he's like a really, really like solid player who knows exactly what he's doing and is taking advantage of spots that are exploitable. Like, you know, me bet folding too much there. Like bet folding nines there is wrong. On a, like in a GTO sense, like I don't think you can bet fold nines there. I mean, nines is honestly probably just a check back. But I do get like very insecure, and that's when I start to make mistakes, is when I sort of see something where it's like this guy's kind of trying to run everybody over. That's pretty obvious. And I might, you know, kind of like spew with a hand like that. So I'm glad that I didn't do that, but I also need to make sure I sort of understand what the right defense there is and how to handle that, because I don't want the answer to be like, oh, I will just ship all in pre-flop or fold because I don't want to play post-flop. I'm in position with a strong hand. There shouldn't be a adversity or fear of playing post-flop there. Yeah, so something to think about. Jack 2-2, we'll check raise. Probably could have just made that $3. I gotta check all my bet sizing stuff. The queen seems like a pretty good turn to continue barreling. It also gave us some equity, so that makes it a little bit easier. And the jack seems like a pretty rough card here. All we had was a flush draw miss, and the queen should have been a pretty good card to get our opponent to fold. I don't think he calls with like a pair of tens, which we block, a pair of nines, so I think it's just a check give up on the river, and I'll mark the hand for review. And I mean, yeah, I mean, he's not folding there, obviously. I don't think. So I think I actually played that hand pretty well. So definitely a loss, but I think I played that well. And I think I made a good decision not to try and fire off on the river, because I don't think that is I don't think that's a board that's going to be overfolded in that line, if that makes sense. All right, a couple rough hands today. I've had like 2 or 3 hands, like 3 all-in hands today that I've lost. That were possibly not the best. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, I just wanted to do a quick video, kind of update you guys on what's going on. Pretty excited about the Coaching for Profit team that I was selected for. So we're looking forward to getting some coaching and improving my game, and hopefully moving up through the stakes as quickly as possible. As usual, that's always the plan. So we'll see how it goes this time. And we'll answer any questions you guys have in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Until then, this is you Rounder. You guys keep on grinding.